Digital Matatu was initiated back in 2012, where we involved in data collection, and this was focused on how can we be able to put the transit system into a more formalized kind of a transport system, where it is in the developing countries.
Technology is about making life easier for you, and when people see that this makes sense, people are like, oh my God, that is it.
So, as part of the research was funded by the local fellows, and we have involved government in different kind of engagement. For example, we had interacted with Kipla, who holds more on government document and data.
We're starting to attract a lot more kinds of partners, a lot more people interested in this initiative, interested in the data. We have had about 44 million views of the online portal since inception, and I like to say it's probably the only government. I don't know, but it's very impressive. But I want those numbers to go up. I want a lot more use within the Kenyan people.
We all use maps every day, but we just use it. How do you get from this town to this town? How do you get from this place to this place? Today, we are actually introducing a new feature called Transit, which is how are you able to use public commute system to actually know which buses to get from your place to go to a particular place. So normally, your friends know where you stay, but if you're to get a new house help who's coming and they don't know which matatus to get and they're coming from somewhere else, how are they able to get it? And so it's a step-by-step direction on which matatus they get, where they need to change matatus, and how long it's going to take them to that place.
We are trying to put this information available to people so that they can be able to make a decision on policy making. We put it for the developers. They can come up with a solution to intervene the challenges which are faced with the people.
So I think it's that sort of information that we're adding, and this layer of information that we're adding to the maps to make them even more relevant to you and I.
I feel like in our daily lives there are many opportunities to do something different, to create solutions. So let's start.
So without wasting time, let me just invite Evans to start off. So you'll have Evans and Digital Matatus presenting, and then after that we'll have Q&A. Evans, please.
Our mandate is to assist people navigate the world and explore the world wherever they are. So wherever they are, so for our context now is Nairobi. We need to explore Nairobi world. And in this journey, we started by building what we call base maps. So the base map in simple terms is the roads you see. We build the roads on the maps and the businesses. So these businesses could be hotels, schools, where people live, estates, just trying to put points of interest that answer the questions of where.
My example, I always say, when I came to Nairobi the first time, I didn't know many places. Then I would take a matatu. And I don't know where I'm going because I was told, take number 32, and drop at car wash. Take number 32, drop at the car wash. So what do? From the time, first you take the process of looking for number 32. You go into town, look for number 32. So I had to look for number 32. You ask, where do we pick number 32? They refer you, sometimes you miss. Finally you get to number 32. The first thing you do when the conductor or the conductor is picking the money, what do? You tell him the destination and say, I'm going to car wash. I don't know car wash, but I'm sure I don't pass. And what we are trying to do today, or what we are doing today,
is to solve that unknown, the car wash. Where's the car wash? And where's the number 32? Where can I get number 32? And when can I drop? So that ties very well with global mission of organizing the world's information and making it accessible. So if we have all this information, if you know all where car wash is, whichever number you know where car wash is, you know where to get number 32 or whichever number, then we've solved that challenge for many of our users.
Thank you.
So we were able to collect approximately 134 to be precise. And this we did by having these teams literally traverse the whole system, capture the information, and then bring it back and then kind of process and organize it. This took approximately a year. We captured the data and converted it into what we call the GTFS standard. It's largely a data format that is used in many countries, in many cities. It allows computers or allows systems or mobile handsets and so on to read that information and make sense out of it. Now, in the next part, I would like to invite Sarah, so that we can continue on in the presentation.
So what you're seeing on the screen right now is actually that GTFS data that Peter was talking about. And actually how the data works is it brings in, as we're recording in the field, the latitude and longitude points. So as Peterson was riding on the matatus, it's capturing the latitude and longitude. It also captures the stop name, and also captures a unique identifiers for each route that we developed. And what you can see is, as we ride the matatus and as the data comes in, it begins to draw a map of the city of Nairobi. So here you can see the map is being developed. And so one of the things we did is lay a grid over the entire city and then structure the routes along that grid. So creating right angles to develop a map that looks very much like a map that you would see for New York City public transit, or you would see in London, or you would see in Paris. And it begins to construct a stylized system of the route that is much more organized according to the corridors. So we actually ask people to edit the data to make sure that the data is correct, to talk about different stages, to make sure the naming is correct, and really to help us edit the map together. And so without further ado, we would really like to demonstrate this capability. And so I'm going to actually hand it over to the group, and I'm actually going to put this route up. This is actually a route from Kingeme flyover to Junction, and I'm going to click on the map here so we can see our different options. I think Dan, do you want to come up, or Dan and Peter and Evan, to look at this? I will invite you up.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Again, move it up a bit. So what Sarah has actually shown is showing on the now where you actually wanted to be all along. So find yourself sometimes in Kangemi flyover. I know most of us probably would think number 23 is the only way to go there. But then today I'm going to show you that it is possible that there's some actually different alternatives which might actually be much faster than coming all the way to town. For example, not a common place that you probably want to go, but now probably you want to visit Babadogo, and maybe Babadogo Primary School. And it gives you the option of leaving now. There's if you look at just below the Babadogo, there is, if you click on that, you can have an option of leaving now, or you can leave late, or arrive at a particular. If you click that, you can give the option, do you want to leave now, or do you want to leave at another time, or do you want to arrive at a particular time? So if you play around with that, it can actually, and you see as Peter does that, if you look at the map, it actually tries to change the different options so that it is very dynamic. It tries to check which is the most optimal route depending on the time of the day. So sometimes when you look at the map, it will give you options which may not necessarily, not all options, because it looks at also how long it's going to take.
So supposing we to depart at maybe then Peter's
Leave now.
Peter can do now. Let's say depart, leave now. And you can see now it has given you different options. So we have about 3 options: 1 hour 7 minutes, 1 hour 16 minutes, 1 hour 10 minutes. As Evans explained, these are actually based on because Matatus don't have schedules. We were basing it on the average time it takes for a matatu to move if it makes stops at every given time. So these are based on estimates, and part of the way going forward as we work with Google is to try and improve on this kind of schedule. So if you take the first one, for example, it takes you on average you walk all the way to Odeon, good for your health, 22 minutes, and then you pick number 25 from Odeon Terminal, and you go all the way to Babadogo Primary School. That is actually one of the options that it gives you.
We could have this information on desktop. If you on desktop, you can get it, as you see there. If you have a smartphone, Android phone, it's available. If you have iPad and iPhone, it's also available as well. So from today, it's easy to start planning your journeys using Google Maps Transit. Thank you.
Maybe, what if you don't have a smartphone? Then we have some paper maps for you, and we are actually having them right here. We are not having the latest update, but we are going to update that, and we welcome you to pick one of the paper maps, those who don't have them, and the ones that Sarah was talking about that actually can be useful. Just like in any other city, when you go, first thing you want to do is, if you don't want to use your cell phone, you can actually use your paper maps. Thank you.
Back to the
No question? Comment? There, all right, yeah.
There's also a larger population that does not access smartphones, maybe the internet and all, and sometimes carrying this map might be a bit taxed. Maybe you're really in a hurry and you don't have time to carry your map. I do have another option, maybe choose SMSs, because I know that people who tried it, I don't know how far it went.
I think now that the data is available in terms of the routing system, the schedules, the basic data is there, the base data is available. Would really encourage people to build applications on that. We've not really purposed to do that particular aspect, but with the data being available in this innovative city of ours, Nairobi, it's just something that can easily be done. All that they need to do is just access the data, and then that would really be possible.
Peter, I would just add that we did talk to Matatu drivers and showed them this map. And they were the ones we spoke to were very pleased, and they would like to see parts of this map up on the major bus terminals, major stages, and even, they would like to see their own route in some of their buses. So this would help people who don't have a smartphone or don't want to take it out in a matatu, or just doesn't really use their cell phone. So it could reach more people.
One last question.
Now, I have a relevant question regarding the pricing. For example, when people want to transit, they'd like to know also how much fare they are paying, right? So have you guys thought about including it in your maps? Because that would be very helpful also.
I mean, thought about it.
Maybe I'll take this for a second. I think one thing that, as we said, is that we are partnering further to update the map. And as we create the tool to do that update, we hope to collect information about the pricing and see if it's even possible. So as you saw, you're riding the matatu and collecting information about the routes. Can you also at the same time then collect information on prices? But as you know, prices are highly variable, so this is going to be something that would be very difficult. So as we move forward in thinking about how to update the data, we are going to see how we can think about incorporating pricing, but it'll be a test and an experiment in the next phase of our research.
Right. Thanks, Sarah. Mr. Wangela from NTSA wanted to just make a contribution, so I'll allow him to talk. If you can.
What we'll do when you have such products, we can add data from our team's project to feed into this. For example, the authority will talk about the prices per route, so that when it rains, you don't get the price going higher because it's taking advantage of the people, passengers. So what is going to happen is that we'll use such collaboration with Google and the authority to give data, basically share the data both ways, from Google side and from NTSA side. Because the routes are usually assigned by the PSV. The PSV in our department, we have a department of PSV, Directorate of PSV, that issues routes to matatus. And this is a good product because now we are going to map these routes, and I think they're already mapped, and we can now add the pricing from our side to the routes that have already been done. We don't need to reinvent the wheel at NTSA. We just partner with Google. We are already partnering actually in the Data Regulation Forum. I've spoken to Michael Murungi about that. So I think moving forward, we will work well.
And another question while you're still there, I think the question was asked, is it possible to have this sort of information at bus stands or at public transport places where people can actually see? So let's say if you take Kencom where people already are, is it possible to have this plastered around, you know, the paper version that's put there so that people can see it? Would your office facilitate
yes,
that?
Yes, that is possible because our work is to help the transport sector to come out of chaos. So if this is going to help in terms of having these maps there, this will be very helpful. And that will just mean that we are collaborating with people like Google, and that's why we are here today.
Okay, so thank you so much for the engaging. I think the feedback is really good for the digital Matatu team that's working on this, and Google, and making sure that the information is relevant. And we are just grateful that we have the support of NTSA in making this also widely available. I think it's just integrating. The thing with the Matatu routes is that they also change so often, you know. Matatus change the routes, so you keep changing and you keep making it better, and the idea is to make sure that you are in keeping with change.
Focusing on the developing countries where people trying to formalize their transit system, which involves accessibility of transit and the availability. This project means that it breaks the ground where, after starting here in Nairobi, we have gone to Eldoret where we have the data collected and being mapped. We also have Nakuru, and this will go to the extent of the whole country. These are a kind of protocol which have used in collecting the data, formalizing it, and being used in other countries like in Kampala. They are using the same for their urban. And so for it is like groundbreaking, which will be used by other countries to try to formalize their transit.
Our ultimate aim is that we can actually introduce some transparency into the process, because now when people actually have this information, they can be able to, this legibility, you know where you're going, number one. But in other countries that we actually visited during our project, part of the things that we saw, which we want to see introduced into the Matatu sector, is the issue about safety, recklessness, so that you can be able to report that. So because we're going to work closely with the NTSA, that's going to be very easy, because NTSA has got the detail of each and every Matatu, including the driver name and the conductor name.
One thing which we disregard is that we start from somewhere and get to the next step, and so whatever kind kind of data you have, whatever kind of fund you have first of all to do something to prove that it's possible, to create the awareness. Because as indeed we started the research part of it, we got fed from the Rockefeller because we showed them there is need to have this kind of formalization in developing countries, which is a major challenge. And so when you identify a solid challenge which people are experiencing, you get people to support you and to enable you grow.
This is a good opportunity where we can say the government doesn't have to put in as many resources to collect this information because it's there. So what I would hope for is for the government to reach out and create this partnership so that, you know, we can move forward. I mean, Google is doing it. Why can't the government do it? So I think it's the push to have the government to start, you know, creating the partnership. And I think it's definitely very possible.